Alright, hello. This is Sonalar. Welcome to the channel. Today I'm talking about excerpts of a 4D roleplay. We are going to look at examples of 4D roleplay that has happened in the last couple of weeks that I wanted to show you guys. I found this very interesting on watching other people play a 4D roleplay. We have the group from Mr. Max with Table Runner Crispy, with Phil the Frill with 28mm RPG, who are doing 4D role playing. They change who is the game master. They change the game systems to see what fits, what they struggle with, to learn and explore what 4D role playing is. So here we are going to watch a game of them. It's a sci-fi setting. Everybody is playing prisoners and they're being sent down to a prison planet via a drop pod. It's a sci-fi setting, like, so they got a drop pod to crash land on the surface and spend the rest of their lives there. And that is basically the game, using a light traveler system, having 2d6 to resolve dice. But the focus here, that's the question. What is the focus? We are trying to do 4D role playing. We are trying to do role play the hard way. So I've wrote down some notes. Did we achieve 4D role playing? This is what we are looking for. So that means, are we anchoring our character, describing where we are and being in the moment? Are we role playing our character, uh, establishing how we talk, how we act by our interactions with the other players or NPCs? And I wrote down as a third point of sharing the spotlight. 4D role playing is also about, giving the ball to the next guy, sharing the spotlight, sharing the microphone. It's my turn. I do my thing. 1, 2 sentences. I hand it over. I let the other person react, or I let the dungeon master react. And then the next person does something and we interact with each other. We are not hogging it all for ourselves. I think those are three really good points to focus on for the 4D role playing, for role playing the hard way. And also, I think those are also generally good rules for players at the table to work on outside of 4D, like however you want to call it. If you're role playing, anchor your character where is he, role play your character, what does he do, how does he speak, and speak, of course. And sharing the spotlight, very good player behavior. So we will watch the examples of Shonner, yes, the one and only Shonner, looking at the game itself and adding his own 2 cents to it. And we will soon see that this game has some problems because there's a fifth player involved who is new to 4D roleplaying, who wants to try it out, who thinks he can join the table and feel it out with the group, and the group accepted him, and we can see the results here. So let's take a look. All right. Switching the camera scene. Gonna see if everything checks out. Gonna turn up the audio too.
Another 1,000 feet.
I'm bracing myself in my seat.
In the drop pod, crashing down.
Andrus looks Andrus looks around, is searching around, seeing if there's any panels around, cubby holes, that sort of thing. Taking an assess of everything around him.
It's a lot of flat metal panels on the floor. There is one bag under everyone's chair.
Ah,
A small bag. And
That's cool.
number of metal rafters across the ceiling. Small control panel over at the door. The exit.
Looks like we all have a kit of some form underneath our seats. We should be prepared to get our stuff together when we land. Hopefully it's not too rough.
I like this a lot. One thing we are learning is let's not ask our game master, what do I see? Let's turn this into a role-playing moment of I look around from my seat at what is at the ceiling, on the floor, underneath the chairs. A 4D moment involving my character, role-playing my character. The game master only describes the scene. He narrates the scene. He doesn't say, you see the bags, because he just describes the bags being there. A good 4D moment. And then 28 millimeters brings it up in character to the other players to share the information. So I bet he takes it, the ball, gives it over, gets a response, and gets passed back, and he shoots it to the other players.
If I may
Hopefully
make a
it's on
suggestion,
land.
gentlemen, if I may make a suggestion, we should probably disassemble any part of this craft that we can. We're unlikely to find metal where we're going. We might be.
What is he doing? I would be bracing for impact. I wouldn't be. I don't understand.
Be able to use parts as weapons, as shields, all manner of useful items.
Hold on, are you an engineer?
So we have a Dog Flamingo here who is joining as a new player in this group in particular. And you can see the differences already from this small clip. 28 millimeter is shaking in his chair, the crashing down. They're about 1,000 feet above the planet's surface right now. So we are talking several G's pressing into you as you shake strongly, and 28 millimeters trying to embody this with his body language too and his gruff talk. So right now you should brace for impact. And meanwhile we have William DeVels playing this character that he will explain now. So he was asked, was he a mechanic?
You know mechanics, that sort of thing.
A little bit. I was in the military. I did some construction.
Good.
Yeah, like, yeah, I was in the military. I did some construction. My friend, you're crashing down to the planet. You should have more panic in your voice, or more stoicism, or be like, the situation should affect your answer. Like, they might be shouting at each other, right? I get that impression from Andres. You could shout back, I did a tour in the military. I was involved in construction. That might work in that scene. So what is the problem with this? We are not role-playing our character. Now he is talking from the perspective of his character, like, I am talking. I was on the military and construction, but we are not involving the environment around us on how we speak, which would be the anchoring element of, all right, I'm here, I'm crashing down, this is important.
Good. It'd be useful. Hey, any of you scientist types?
All right, let's go with that is this for the impact of that scene. So we will switch over to the next one that I have linked up.
Or worse.
Unbuckling everything.
Oh yes, they have crash landed, so I think they are freeing themselves up now.
Trying to force this metal cage off me that the guards
straps,
put down.
The straps provide too much of resistance against.
All right, they have not crash landed yet. They are hanging mid-air attached to like very, very large trees hanging from their parachute. So the drop pod is like floating, like dangling on the parachute lines midair. That is what is happening here. So they stopped, and now they're trying to get out
against you up until a second later, and then the safety harness just lifts up. The young man who was at the top of the pod falls down and lands, busting his head on the bottom of the pod, on the what is now the bottom of the pod.
Okay. I lowered myself down there and take a look at him. I have some medical training.
Okay. Yeah, Doc Flamingo is not saying where he's at and what he's doing. He's just a floating head that talks.
Stand
Andrus,
up.
There we go. Shauna's critique. Remus is Table Runner Crispy here, who I think is a great role player. It's my personal, obviously my personal opinion, but I enjoy role playing a lot. He is interacting with where he is in the chair, tied up. He tries to get out. And our referee, Phil, the Frill, reacts. Yes, it zishes open. Great, great. The player asks a question. Can I get out of my chair? The DM said yes, but inside of role playing, without breaking the narrative, without breaking the character. And the same happens. An NPC crashes his head, and we have William saying, "Yeah, I go there and tend to his wounds." William should be like upside down in the chair, floating, because the craft is sideways. Or he might be on the lower part, you know, basically lying on his back, strapped to the chair. But he didn't describe getting out of the chair or like talk to the NPC like, "Hey, are you all right? Let me check you. Let me check on you." And describe what he does. He's describing his actions, but in a very 2D way of, you know, like I pull my sword and swing at the goblin. It is roleplay, yes, but this is I guess like a surface level. Like if you would be playing a guitar, this would be a strum. Like, yes, you got the chord right, but there's so much more involved that can be improved on. So that's the criticism I get from genre. Let's listen to the critique again.
Myself down there and take a look at him. I have some medical training.
Okay. Yeah, Doc Flamingo is not saying where he's at and what he's doing. He's just a floating head that talks.
Andrus,
And we can see the irritation here. Like, Shara, he wants to know where you are and what you're doing. Now, Doc Flamingo is describing his character's actions, but he's not being in the character. He's not being in the pot. And that shows the difference of the skill level of role playing. If we assume that role playing is a skill that I can learn and improve on, it makes sense that other people can as well. Like we are going from that mindset. Role playing is a skill. Role playing is a skill, and you can improve on it, which is great. It means you can get better every day. You can get better if you want to and set your mind to it. You can get better, which means there's also such a thing as bad, or or worse roleplay, or like not as good. You decide how you want to describe it, but there's a clear spectrum, and you can be on the worse end or on the better end, and it's up to you to judge what you find is good. In the end, when you play, everybody comes to meet up for fun. So that is already a given. Now we are trying to get more out of the time we are spending playing the game. Which means people, at least I, want to get better at it. So let's now I wrote down some points. Let's switch the scene. All right, to myself here. Now, negative impact of 2D players that are not on the same page as 4D players. Now, I do believe when you watch the show, I gave you 2 clips now, and you see the players are engaged, they are in character, they interact with the environment and with the other characters. This is a clear role-playing the hard way, 4D elements, you're co-creating the scene together. And is there a negative impact of a 2D player? I would say yes, it can definitely have a negative impact. Now, why is that? Why is that the case? How can this be? Maybe you might get upset at the mere thought. Like, are you suggesting that I'm not good enough for the table? And no, that's for your table to decide. Like, maybe it's for you to decide what the goal is. If you want to roleplay and stay immersed in the role-playing experience in character, then yes, then you have set the level, and you can see if you reached it or not. And this is why I made the points of anchoring your character where you are, role-playing your character, what you do and what you say, like saying it, also like role-playing it, and free sharing the spotlight. And I think like sharing the spotlights, we got pretty well from Doc Flamingo here, definitely. I think his role-playing was weak. He role-played, but it felt like Doc Flamingo talked, and not like William DeVels responded, if you know what I mean. And the third point, the anchoring of not clearly describing where he is and what he does. Like, he describes what he does, but it feels detached to the scene being created by the players and the game master. Now, and this is, I'm going to the next point, the reasons for vetting a player and for training sessions is to avoid this. Now, it's totally fine if you might have a player in your friend circle or in your group who just isn't that comfortable role-playing, or might be nervous, or might just be there to spend time with their friends, right? That's often the case. It's a social event, and that is also a reason to play games together, like role-playing games. And for that reason, it's important to vet your players, because if his goal is to spend time with your friends, with the friends, and your goal is to have good roleplay, then you have to think, am I playing with him to spend time together or for roleplaying? And you can decide, I'm actually just want to spend time together, and that is fine. Let's have a 2D game, or let's even have a 1D game. We push minis around, we laugh, we make jokes, we watch movies on the side. Or 2D game, I'm just asking questions and the GM and he responds, and then I do the actions that I wanted to do. But when the goal that we've declared to have a good role-playing session, which you can also do with your friends, but then you have to vet your players to be like, can you roleplay? And how do you do that? Is you involve them into the process, right? We do a training session. That's what I've done with 28mm RPG. He invited me in. Basically, he invited me into his house. He launched StreamYard. We played a game. Just 2d6s, a small dungeon crawl. I stay in character. I roleplay. And I try my best to follow what I've learned, stay in character, anchor my character, and interact with the world as best as I can. And it's hard because it takes conscious effort. And conscious effort is still energy, and that is hard to do. Like, you can only spend so much focus until you're drained. This is why these sessions are more 2 hours. If you're really going to 3 hours, it will drain you, right? Like a battery. But we are not just leaving the players, that's the important part, we are not leaving him out to dry and saying, no, you can't play with us because you're not good enough. No, we want to avoid that. We want to avoid that specifically because, hey, playing is fun and you want to get them in, but if you do not, then the whole skill level of the role playing will be pulled down to the floor, and the floor is your least skilled player, if you understand what I mean. And let's go to what it means. Least skilled player. What do you mean? Could I be the least skilled player? Maybe. I could be the least skilled player in my group. I have a very, very good role players in my groups. They all have different strengths and differences and weaknesses. But when we draw the parallel to gaming or even to chess, there is a MMR system. There's a ranking system, right, in chess. And you can have a high rank, you can be a high rank chess player, and you might have a group of friends that you like to play chess with. But you know, the other guy, he's just a beginner. He's an amateur. He knows the rules. He's played a couple of games, but he doesn't have the vast experience. And playing chess with him might be easy, right? You're like always 13 steps ahead of him. And in a video game, now since we are playing with 4 to 5 players here, or sitting around the table with 4 other guys, 5 other guys, you can compare it to a team game like League of Legends, like Dota, or maybe like doing a World of Warcraft Mythic dungeon, like a 25 plus key, like whatever the kids do nowadays. Like, if I'm playing a role-playing game for fun, and I do that because I want to hang out with friends sometimes and don't want to think too much, just meet up, talk, roll some dice, that happens, then you would play a normal game, right? You play a normal game, you queue up, you play the game, you talk trash, you try out something new. Great, everybody has fun anyways. It doesn't matter if you win or lose. But in games, like in chess, you can have ranked games. Now we are trying to climb the ladder. We are trying to go to the next level. I don't want to be a silver rank. Let's reach gold rank this time. Let's reach platinum. Let's become a master. Let's become a grandmaster. Let's reach the challenger tier. Of course, if you've ever played a game and you are playing ranked and somebody is like literally 2 ranks lower than you will feel like he's not even human. Like, this is crazy. Like, how is he playing this bad? I mean, these are basics. It's completely missing. And the other guy might literally be a 9-year-old kid playing the game for the first time. It might also be a 40-year-old man who's playing on the weekends, having some fun, trying to get better. But you know, that's just his skill level. Myself, I've become really bad at some video games. When I thought like 5 years ago, when I was still playing StarCraft 2, I've reached platinum rank at some point. And that is already, I used to be silver, I reached gold, and after more play and knowing more gameplay from watching tournaments and playing casually, I've reached platinum. And that felt very, very, very rewarding to reach a new skill level. So now we break this down into role-playing terms. You have good role players on the table, and then you invite a new guy who hasn't tried it yet, who hasn't got a training session, who didn't participate in the previous sessions of let's talk about our goals, what is the game about, what are our characters, okay, let's play the game, and then after the game, let's have a post-game process to discuss how it felt, what can we improve on, what was really good, or what felt unnatural and was weird and frustrating. And those really help shoot back and forth ideas to complement, to give productive criticism and not feel frustrated. And at that point, yes, if you have a player at the table who still struggles at a point you've surpassed before, like a month or two before, it's gonna be more difficult. It can reset the clock. It can also be that the player learns much faster, right? That is also possible that he picks up everything, like, oh, I have 4 masters on my team, I'm absorbing all the knowledge. That is possible. But for that, you need to have an open mindset and be open to criticism, constructive criticism, of course. And you have to be humble. You have to let your ego go for a moment to what's the word? Reflect on the game, right? And that is hard because we play games for fun, and thinking about hard things and how to improve on them, it can be frustrating. It can hurt our ego. It hurts my ego for sure sometimes. So we want to improve on that. All right. So let's go to the last clip and wrap it up after that. All right, here we go. Full screen. We are jumping much later to the session. It's the end of the session. The people moved through the jungle and they've been found by, like, not bandits, but like tribal prisoners that have lived here for a while, right? And they are destroying the group. The group is split up, and William de Vels has lost the fight together with Andreas. Remus and Theodorian are still around, trying to sneak up on the battle and help them out before it's too late. So that is the scene setting in the jungle. Let's go.
I take my jumpsuit from my neck. I lift it in the ground.
I skin myself as well. Hand my clothes to the old man. Prop him up against a tree.
You take the right, I take the left.
That's right.
Yeah. Good anchoring, describing what you do, and role-playing, taking off your clothes, putting them on the ground, and how Remus responds to it by following the lead. It's a good back and forth, and staying in character. And the role-playing, they're not using flowery languages, but they're expressing the mood of the scene and of their characters. It's pretty clear.
Stay here.
Quiet,
Yes.
old man. Quiet.
We'll
be back.
The man driving the bike looks at you for a long moment, William.
That is one of the gangsters
Looks
of the
over
bandits.
to the man at your right.
Now here we've seen 2 small moments. A long look at William. He has just surrendered for a second time. Like, he fought, he surrendered. Then he fought again, but didn't overcome the struggle. And he surrendered a second time. So you see him, gives a long look to the other bandit, and then another look at William. So this is grim, but our game master has just given him 2 moments to interact. And it's possible that you miss those moments. So it's important that you focus when the NPCs are interacting with you, when you are in the scene, and that you are not an audience member, pulled back and watching, but engaged in the scene itself and ready to roleplay.
Nods that.
And
Driving
go
the bike.
back again. I'll go back again just to see this again so you can see what I mean. And to the reaction.
We'll be back.
The man driving the bike looks at you for a long moment, William. Looks over to the man at your right. Nods at him. The man to your right walks over to you and slits your throat, bleeding on the spot.
William is dead.
Who got slitted? William got slitted. So why is he smiling? I don't understand. Why is he smiling?
Yeah, why?
This guy just got his throat slit and he's smiling. I don't understand. I mean, it's okay, I suppose, on occasion to have an audience member in a game. But when you're trying to do a 4D one-shot, maybe that's not the time. That's not the time to have an audience member. You know, someone from the studio audience come on stage, as it were, such as it is. And sit next to the role players. I don't understand this. Help me understand. I mean, I kind of know why he was in this game, because Rick wanted him to practice with them, but on live television, do like 100 practice sessions in just a private game.
Nothing to add.
But live?
Shauna sums it up greatly.
I only know one person who was able to go from no D to 4D live their first time. And that was Phil the Thrill when he ran his World of Darkness werewolf stuff.
That's the guy at the top left.
He was doing 4D for the first time. Running a game in 4D for the first time. Live. He did perfect. I've never seen that before. May not ever see it again.
Can I make a dex to dodge this?
Did you?
Well, as he's coming up to me with the weapon.
Why is he talking still? That's all he should be saying right now.
No. Andrews?
I mean, that could have been a cool death scene. A cool death scene. Wasted. I like dying in my games. At least describe how you die in a cool way. Maybe you fall off a cliff on the way down. Who knows?
All right, let's keep it at that. Absolutely. So, at the beginning, I've showed you 2 moments where William had a chance to react. He tried to fight twice already. Gave up the first time. Then made it like a feint, like he only pretended. He tried again to get the upper hand, but failed. So the second time, he lost the trust of saying that he surrenders. And then the long look exchange, the look at William, and those are cues to be like, oh shit, this is escalating. And it's possible that you might miss this, right? That as a player, you miss the cue that it's your turn to get out of the situation because you just stuck yourself in a hole pretty deep. And then he approaches with the knife, and then there's also a pause, and then he slits his throat. And at that point, you're not asking for a roll anymore, right? At this point, it's too late. You're in the net, you're caught, you've surrendered, you're not describing what else you're doing. You had 2 to 3 small moments to react. You missed them, now your throat is slit. Now, after the fact, of course, Doc Flamingo doesn't want to die, so he asks, like, can I roll to not die? And here he broke character, of course, into 2D, asking the GM a question. But it's because, and I understand that reflex. You're dead, and you want to prevent this. So it would be very hard to stop that reflex, but he still did it. So that's important to note. It's difficult. I don't blame him for it. It makes sense. But also the reason why we train and why we wet for the live sessions, or why you should wet, the value of wetting players, right? And value of training players, so that if you do come to a dramatic death scene, that you will stay in character the whole time and create an amazing death scene, like the best death scene you can think of. And it makes sense that you're distraught, you're sad, you just died, and you might even be angry, that you can take that off the table, or in these cases they will soon turn off his camera, right? They turn off the camera and he's gone, and they continue.
Body falls.
There we go. Yeah. So we do not interrupt the scene with comedic effects and like out of character talk and asking, should I roll a new character? We keep the show rolling. The show must go on. So yeah, this is the Traveler session, WILDHEL 4D roleplay live session. Hello again. I will link it down in the description for you to watch yourself. I've had a blast watching. They did a second episode too. There's so much to learn from this that you can take to your own games and to see what can be possible. What is the goal for the role-playing? How does role-playing the hard way look? How do we anchor our characters in the scene? How do we role-play our characters? And how do we share the spotlight? And there we go, together with Shonner adding his commentary that I found myself very insightful. At first, I must say, I was critical of Shonner for giving Doc Flamingo a hard time. That's what I thought. You're being harsh on this guy. He's a new player. We should touch him with baby gloves. Let him learn. But the important part, that, as he said, we're doing it live, like live on television, right? The other guys are, if we take the comparison, the other guy is a TV moderator, a host, and then you have a couple of actors, and you have and maybe you have somebody who's a great people guy who gets the conversation rolling, and the fifth guy is the guy in the audience who watched the last couple episodes and wants to join. No practice, no vetting of the player, no, no. Let's have a couple of sessions without the cameras together in a 101 session to get you up to speed and see if you can perform, right? And at that point, you can also say, those sessions were great. And you can also say, oh, I think you need more training to join our sessions. Would be the nice way to say. You can also, like, depending on, basically rejecting, right? Like, I don't think you're ready. That can also be said. But it is for the purpose, right? The purpose to have for the roleplay, to stay in character, to stay immersed in the world, and to absorb all of these emotions of these events and to be there. And if you have a player who cannot do that yet, he will pull you down to his level where he is comfortable at. Just like a guy who is bronze tier in League of Legends, and you might be platinum, you might even be masters, but now you have to deal with him, and he will drag down your team. And you will play as 4 players against the other team with 5 good players. And the only thing that does to you is make you resent him. So don't even let him join your team. You do the practice sessions, or you do the normal, right? The normal games with him without the ranked, without points on the line, without going live. You do the normal games where it's fun, where you have your beers and pretzels, and where you talk and laugh and do all of the things you want to do, because the focus is different. The focus is spending time with friends. And if you want to have the focus to be roleplay, you set the standard, you aim for it, and that is the fun, right? That is the juice. That is trying to evolve your skill to become better, to help each other, to lift each other up, and not pull each other down. Now, if for some reason Dog Flamingo does watch this and have made it to the end of this 40-minute video, I'm sorry, Dog. I think you did the best you could. And I think it was very brave of you to join this session. And it was very brave to be part of it live without the training session. I hope you can learn from this, and I hope there's no hard feelings between you and me. I enjoyed the times I've seen you in chat. So keep going. Don't let this stop you. Don't let this be a sore spot. But take it with grace. I hope to see you on another role-playing show maybe in the future. All right. And also thanks to Connor to give his commentary. So I'm gonna put a link to the show and to Sean's channel. All right, that's it for 40 roleplay. Another 42-minute video. But if that's what it takes for me to say what I have in my mind, I'll try to speed it up. But yeah, that's how long I need. That's how long I need right now. So that's what I'm going to do. So thank you for watching. Yeah, like and subscribe. I guess that's what the YouTubers do.